All right, we're back again with another episode of Roofer Reflections. I'm really excited to have Daniel here. Daniel, thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me.
When I look at your background, one word stands out to me is like education. You've taken the time to do education. Tell me about that.
I went to college for a year and then I dropped out because I started working in the construction industry in Manhattan at the time. Um, and I was making very good money back then, as an 18, 19-year old. So, I said, why do I need to keep going to college if I'm already making good money? Um, but then, as you find out, to get ahead, you always got to stay up on the latest trends and what's going on and new products. So I ended up constantly learning, constantly wanting to learn, constantly, wanting to know what the latest trends are, what the newest products are. So although I didn't go to a 4-year school, I probably have done that 3 times over in, additional classes and, certificates and certifications and safety courses and OSHA and all that stuff.
When you originally got into construction, is that just something you just took it upon yourself to do it? Do you have friends or family around you that was part of it? Like, how'd that work?
So I had a friend when I was younger that had a masonry and waterproofing business in New York. And when I graduated high school, I needed something to do for the summer. So he invited me to come out and work on one of the crews. I went, worked the whole summer, you know, got to enjoy Manhattan, in the summer, as an 18-year-old. I absolutely loved it. Loved working on the high-rise buildings and getting to see the views. And it was just, to me, it was awesome. It was amazing. I loved the experience. Then like I said, I went to school my freshman year. The following year, I went to go work with him again in the summer. By the end of that summer, he had made me a foreman. And then I just kept working during the day and tried to go to school at night. It just wasn't happening. So then I just, I just stayed with it ever since. I've been doing it since I'm 17, 18 years old.
After all these years, what's made you stay in roofing?
I don't know. I just love it. I love, and it's hard to explain because when you tell somebody you love roofing, they're like, they don't really get it. But it's just something about being on the roof and getting to see the sights that we see and the different views, especially here in the Northeast where we live. Being on a rooftop in Manhattan and getting to see the Chrysler building from a different perspective than everybody else, or being in downtown Philly, and getting to see that site, or even I've done buildings up in Westchester County and getting to see the Hudson Valley, from high up on a building. It's just unlike anything that you can't even explain sometimes. Sometimes I try to take pictures on my phone and pictures don't even do justice of some of the views that we get. It is just something that I actually fell in love with. I was good at it. I was good at, coming up with solutions for problems that people had. I was good at, looking at a roof and troubleshooting things that maybe some other people couldn't find, where a problem was. It's just something that came easy to me, and I honestly, I've honestly fell in love with it.
Who did you sort of lean on, or what sort of resources or sort of information did you lean on to sort of get you to the point where you can problem solve so effectively now?
A lot of it was trial and error. You know, I probably failed more times, or I would say probably came up with the wrong solution more times than I came up with the right one. But after a certain amount of time, you start to learn, you know, what certain signals mean, when it comes to the roof, because diagnosing a roof, and again, I'm not comparing it to being a doctor by any means, but when you see certain problems time after time after time, you can start diagnosing, hey, that this is probably coming from this because of the things that I see, because of the symptoms that I'm seeing here. And then also, incorporating technology, incorporating the drone technology nowadays, and incorporating the infrared technology, which, was a big one. They made these little infrared cameras small enough that you could fit in your pocket. So you go out to a leak on a rainy day where it's leaking, you can pinpoint a leak within 5 seconds of being on the roof by turning on your little infrared camera. So it's, just experience, and marrying the experience with technology has just it's made me very good at what I do.
For people that would starting out or looking at roofing industry as a career, what do you tell them?
I say do it. I mean, there are not a lot of us left out there. I know, they say that the construction industry in the next 10 years is going to suffer. Um, is going to suffer greatly because of the average age of the construction employee is going up without actually getting replenished. So, I mean, if you're looking for a good career, somewhere that you can move up quickly in, especially if you have a good head on your shoulders, commercial roofing, I would highly recommend it. It's it's a very good field, and people are always going to need roofs.